Hey everyone, and welcome to this Forge College Explainer. Now, in our previous lesson on architectural differences, we talked about how building a blockchain involves some really massive engineering trade-offs. Things like throughput, latency, and runtime constraints. Well, today we're looking at exactly how those constraints materialize into concrete rules by putting the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM, head-to-head with the Solana virtual machine, or SVM. And to make this all perfectly clear, we're going to use a fun mental model, a wildly busy, fast-paced restaurant kitchen. So grab an apron and let's get into it.
All right, here's our menu for today. 1. Welcome to the kitchen. 2. The 4 layers of execution. 3. EVM, the single-threaded chef. 4. SVM, the parallel brigade. And finally, number 5, a step-by-step transaction lifecycle.
Section 1. Welcome to the kitchen. Chaos controlled. Okay, let's dive into this. If you've ever peeked inside the kitchen of a busy restaurant on a Friday night, it looks like absolute chaos, right? But it's actually not. It's a highly structured, rigidly controlled environment where a massive influx of totally random orders are systematically turned into completed, identical meals. A blockchain network processing thousands of user transactions is exactly the same thing. It takes the total chaos of globally broadcasted transactions and applies strict control. And that strict control, that's what we call an execution model. Let's make sure we share the same vocabulary here. An execution model defines the exact rules a network uses to turn a newly broadcasted transaction into a single, canonical, deterministic change of state. The absolute key word there is deterministic. No matter which node in the world is running the network, if they process the exact same sequence of transactions, they absolutely must arrive at the exact same final state, no exceptions. To achieve that perfect determinism, every single execution model out there, whether we're talking about Ethereum, Solana, or any other chain, has to answer the exact same operational questions. Who's doing the executing? When does it happen? How parallel can the work actually be? And crucially, what happens when someone burns the meal? How are failures recovered? The really fascinating thing is that the EVM and the SVM answer these questions in radically different ways.
Section 2. The 4 layers of execution, from order to the final bill.
To really understand the differences between these networks without getting lost in the technical weeds, we kind of need to break the execution model down into 4 distinct, manageable layers. Think of this as the journey from placing your order at the deli counter to paying your final bill. Step 1 is ordering, the global queue at the deli counter deciding the sequence of transactions. Step 2 is scheduling. This is the expediter in the kitchen assigning the order to a specific chef and deciding if it runs serially or in parallel. Step 3 is execution. This is cooking the meal, the actual bytecode or instruction processing. And finally, step 4 is finalization, billing the customer, handing over the meal, committing the state changes, and printing the receipts. So the crucial point is that treating these as separate layers helps us compare EVM and SVM fairly without mixing up totally unrelated mechanics. And this beautifully flat engineering breakdown brilliantly illustrates exactly how the two architectures diverge. In the ordering layer, the EVM relies on a block-based sequence, while the SVM uses slot leaders augmented by proof of history for incredibly fast timestamping. For scheduling, EVM enforces sequential execution per block, just one after the other. But SVM, using Sealevel, schedules in parallel based on non-overlapping account access. In execution, the EVM relies on a stock-based bytecode interpreter, while SVM uses register-style instruction execution. And for finalization, EVM updates the state root and handles gas refunds, while SVM performs atomic account writes. It's literally the exact same 4 steps, solved with completely different engineering philosophies.
Section 3. EVM, the single-threaded chef, one meal at a time.
Let's look closer at the EVM side of our kitchen. I want you to picture a brilliant, highly skilled but incredibly stressed single chef working the line all by themselves. This EVM chef operates on a strict linear tape. They insist on cooking absolutely everything one meal at a time, strictly in the order the tickets arrive. It doesn't matter if you ordered a massive 5-course meal or just a tiny glass of water. The chef stops everything to complete your order before moving to the next. And because the chef's time is so incredibly valuable, they charge you a highly precise gas fee for every single action they take. Every stir of the pot, every chop of the knife costs you gas. Now, the real benefit to this setup is its safety and simplicity. The EVM gives developers a simple, universal sequential model. Because it's a single-threaded production line, this serial model guarantees that no concurrent writes will ever happen during a transaction's execution. It makes it incredibly easy to reason about locally. You don't have to worry about another chef sneaking in and stealing your ingredients while you aren't looking. But if you run out of your gas budget mid-chop, the chef throws the entire meal in the trash and reverts the state, all while keeping the gas fee for their wasted time. Rough, right?
Section 4. SVM, the Parallel Brigade. Cooking 100 meals at once?
Now, let's walk across town and look at the Solana virtual machine kitchen. We aren't dealing with a single chef anymore. We're dealing with a massive, highly coordinated brigade of chefs working simultaneously. The contrast is striking. Where the EVM uses stack-based sequential execution, the SVM relies on parallel, non-overlapping execution. The SVM brigade can effortlessly cook 100 meals at once, but there is a major catch. They can only do this if the customers declare exactly which ingredients, pots and pans they're going to use before the cooking starts. If the chefs know ahead of time that order A needs the frying pan and order B needs the blender, they can work at the exact same time. But if they don't know, they risk fighting over the same frying pan, which completely ruins the determinism.
This right here is the magic of Solana Sealevel parallel scheduling. It strictly requires pre-declared account access. By forcing developers to provide this transaction metadata upfront, the SVM shifts a huge amount of complexity away from the execution layer itself and pushes it onto the scheduler. The scheduler acts as the kitchen expediter, identifying conflicts instantly. It achieves determinism by aggressively rejecting or delaying conflicting transactions before a chef even picks up a knife. It's incredibly fast, provided you tell it exactly what you plan to touch.
Section 5. Lifecycle step-by-step. Tracing an order through the kitchen. Let's see how all of this comes together by taking a real transaction and tracing its lifecycle step-by-step through both of our kitchens. We need to see exactly where the bottlenecks happen and where things are most likely to fail. Think about this for a second. If you have a high-contention workload, say 10,000 people all trying to buy the exact same limited edition digital item at the exact same millisecond, versus a low-contention workload where 10,000 people are doing completely unrelated things on separate accounts, where will each system choke? Well, the answer lies in how they process the lifecycle. Here is the canonical 6-step lifecycle: submission, propagation, pre-execution checks, execution, state commit, and finalization. Let's rapid-fire trace our order. At Step 1 and Step 3, the SVM is highly aggressive. If your account access list is malformed or missing, the SVM expediter throws your ticket out immediately. It just rejects the order early. The EVM, on the other hand, is way more accepting at Step 1. It takes your ticket, puts it in the mempool, and literally doesn't figure out there's a problem until the chef actually tries to cook it sequentially. During Step 4, the execution layer. Which leads us to the core impact this has on you as a developer. The EVM provides implicit cross-account atomicity. Because it's a single-threaded chef, you get atomicity for free. If something fails mid-execution, the whole state naturally reverts safely. But the SVM provides explicit cross-account atomicity. You are absolutely required to be perfectly explicit about your access lists. If you mess up your metadata, you risk scheduling failures or completely losing that beautiful parallel throughput. So here is your primary practical diagnostic takeaway. When you are observing latency spikes or designing smart contracts, your goals change completely based on which kitchen you're in. If you're building for the SVM brigade, your number one goal is to minimize cross-account contention. Keep your state separate so the chefs can cook in parallel. But if you're building for the EVM chef, your goal is to minimize heavy compute and optimize your gas and reentrancy patterns, because you are paying for every single second of that single chef's time. And that brings us to a really fascinating question. We've seen the theory of the single chef versus the brigade, but how will explicit account access and gas metering actually change the runtime's behavior when we look at a real live transaction trace on the blockchain? Well, we'll be answering exactly that in our next lesson, the Transaction Lifecycle Deep Dive, where we'll actually watch these kitchens operate in real time. Thank you so much for joining this Forge College Explainer. I really encourage you to visit the website forge.college to learn more about this subject and explore our extensive library of Web3 related topics. Until next time, keep learning and keep building.